Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Rabid.
Hello, and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. My name is Alex, joined as always by my comrade and co-host, co-pilot in the never-ending journey of the contrary, Julio Oliveira, here to tackle a very interesting adventure this summer. An adventure I have dubbed, Julio, patent pending, depending on if you okay this, from the bedroom to the box office is what...
Okay, that's so much better. I came with my own proposal, but I like yours. You want to hear mine?
Oh, absolutely.
This is so stupid. Porn star sheets, film star reels. But yours is, I think it's better. It's like more, it's shorter, it's punchier. So.
And we do love a good acronym here on the Contrarians, so we can go with B2B when we make our social media posts about it.
Yes,
so.
There you go.
All right, and starting here today with a pretty interesting piece of business, Julio, from 1977, the David Cronenberg body horror Rabid, starring, amongst others, who will be our subject du jour specifically in Real Talk, Marilyn Chambers, who in the 70s and into the 80s, a very, very popular adult actress, but also had, a moment in the sun as far as mainstream coverage goes, or mainstream celebrity, I should say. And we'll talk a bit more about her success even prior to this. And, what made her a star and celebrity was a pornographic film that came out several years prior to this called Behind the Green Door, which... Spoiler alert, Julio. Unfortunately, Roger Ebert was not a fan of it. But
but David Cronenberg was?
Apparently, Ivan Reitman was, because
I saw a name.
She was not the first choice to play the role of Rose in this. It was actually Cronenberg wanted Sissy Spacek, but it's a movie shot in Canada, based in Montreal, and Sissy Spacek has a pretty pronounced Southern accent, so it wasn't going to work out that way. And so Ivan Reitman's like, well, hold on. I got an idea here. But we'll talk more about Behind the Green Door. We'll talk more about Marilyn Chambers' life and career in the second half in Real Talk. An interesting place to start here, Julio, and for those listening and who are dialed in for our summer journey, we're starting back, Behind the Green Door kicked off what was known as the golden age of pornography, but we're talking like a star of the era that Burt Reynolds pined for in Boogie Nights, that type of porn era. Whereas we move along here, we'll be discussing more into the home video starlets, more into the DVDs, the internet fame that comes along. We have quite the road ahead of us, Julio, as discussed on and off air. We've got quite the array of directors and films coming our way this summer.
So you're telling me this is back when pornos were shot in 35 millimeter?
Exactly. That a little bit of trivia for the second half, that Behind the Green Door movie, her porn debut, $50 million box office.
That's, as you like to say, it used to be better. Was that with the IMAX releases, or was that a separate take?
I couldn't find the exact numbers on the souvenir concession popcorn buckets, but with the hole cut out in the bottom, But.
Yeah, the Mickey Rourke special. Yeah. I'm glad you said 1977 because I don't want to confuse any of our listeners. There is a 2019 Rabid that has a When you read the synopsis, it's a little similar. It might be a. Do you know about this,
brother? It is a spiritual remake, I think was one of the phrases I used. But yeah, it is an homage to this. And did you read over the cast by chance?
No.
Our good friend Phil Brooks, CM Punk, is amongst those cast.
What? Does he play Rose?
Yeah, Rosie. So who knows? Depending on runtime, maybe we'll tack that on as like a patron bonus in this journey. But David Cronenberg, have we done a Cronenberg on the main feed, Julio?
We've done 2, my friend.
Okay.
And one was part of an event.
Yeah, we did The Fly. I'm sorry. We did The Fly, and then we didn't do Videodrome. What was the other one?
No, we did a movie that basically you can trace a direct line from there all the way back to this. We did Crash.
Oh, yes. I was just telling someone about that movie the other day and what a strange film it is. And
very Cronenberg, though.
Yeah, it certainly has the body horror thing down pat, but weren't those both part of Journeys or Adventures?
I think The Fly we did on its own, and then we did when we were doing the Autumn of the Remakes, we kind of threw in the original Fly as a bonus.
You're right. And then was Crash, that was part of the erotic thrillers
yes.
arc? Yeah. Okay. Well, Cronenberg, 3rd time's the charm here, shot in his native land of Canada. Let's go.
It's baby Cronenberg.
I mean, it's a hilariously relevant movie to, maybe about 6 years ago. You could see some of the parallels and whatnot. But 1977, David Cronenberg, rabies outbreak. What's going to happen? Julio, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. So we'll treat this as a fresh. What quotes did you pull for us?
I just sure as hell don't want to become the Colonel Sanders of plastic surgery.
Why not? Sounds great to me.
Not a whole lot to choose from. 27 critic reviews. That's it. I think that I'm sure most critics have seen it, but most of them don't want to be associated with this movie. So they just decided to not log their reviews. 46% on the popcorn meter, by the way. It's the audience's regular people. We're not as crazy about Rabid with over 5,000 reviews there, but got a few fresh tomatoes. I'm going to start with Jeffrey M. Anderson from Combustible Celluloid, who says David Cronenberg's underrated second film continues to develop his theme of body manipulation. He was just starting. He was figuring out where to put the camera, how to direct actors, how gross could he be before it crossed the line.
There are a couple like pan out shots in this, or just the way the camera's set for like one shot of the entire movie that is just kind of like, what the fuck was that? Like, there's nothing else in this movie like that. So I think literally what you're saying is true. He was just kind of like, well, that looked cool. Let's keep that in.
Did he go to film school? Maybe we're just watching him teach himself everything, because it was the 70s. It was just a lot more, you just learn by doing.
He's from Canada, though. They have socialized film school there.
That's true. Yeah, you don't pay anything. In fact, they pay you to learn how to be a filmmaker. Next, Rob Gonzalez from Rob's Movie Vault says, horror fans came to laugh at it and left pretty damn impressed. Do you think so? Do you think that this movie came out in 77 and people were like, all right, let's go have a laugh because of the star? Is that what he's implying?
Maybe. It's an interesting time for horror because Halloween comes out the next year and kind of changes the whole approach for the theater going experience. But I think, back in these days, if it wasn't some like really fucked up, intense tale of revenge or something, it was a lot of kind of just schlock and, as we call, the grindhouse specials and whatnot. So yeah, with the star and also just kind of the premise, I think a lot of people might have gone just been because, spoiler alert, she grows like a penis out of her armpit that is what spreads this disease. So the premise on paper is pretty laughable.
If you were to see a horror movie today, like the next, what's his name? The guy from Under the Silver Lake, and it follows. He has a new movie coming out.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
He's a threefer. Robert something Mitchell.
Yeah. So if this guy comes up with the It Follows sequel, and one of the main characters is played by a porn star, do you go to the movie expecting to laugh?
No.
But that's because of the director. So actually, that was a really bad example. No, it's just a new movie from an emergent filmmaker. The new Man, no, all these fuckers already have like 3 or 4 under their belt.
Yeah, it would also certainly depend on the actor or actress that we're talking about. If any male pornographic
how familiar
actor,
you are with the body of work, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. Matt Brunson from Film Frenzy says, erratic as a thriller, but interesting as a testing ground for Cronenberg's themes and techniques. I think we've done 2 movies from Cronenberg before, and now we're doing this one. And then separately, we've watched many others. And yeah, I mean, this is not super insightful or like breaking news or anything, but yeah, Cronenberg likes fucked up shit when it comes to depicting body horror and grotesque imagery in that sense. I guess you could say, oh, this movie's cool because you can see where it all started. But is that enough? I mean, I think that makes it, that doesn't make it more interesting to watch. I think that makes it maybe more interesting to talk about. But when I'm watching it, if it's not entertaining, I don't really care that this is where Cronenberg started.
Yeah, that's just where you kind of take your arms and put them, with your palms to the sky and just, okay.
Like, that's cool, but can we watch one of his new movies?
Yeah.
Can we watch The Fly again?
Yeah, this is where it all began. Can I see where it ends?
Yes. Can we fast forward? I'm going to close with these 2 back to back. Ken Hankey from Mountain Express, Asheville, North Carolina, says, not Cronenberg at his peak, but neither is it without interest. And then Michael W. Phillips Jr. from Goat Dogs Movies says, Chambers acquits herself well, and Cronenberg is nothing less than competent.
Wow.
Imagine going up to David Cronenberg today and telling him, good job, that was nothing less than competent.
Competent film there, Dave.
Not mediocre. You moved up to competent. It's been a while, I think, since people have been this dismissive of David Cronenberg, even when they're praising his movie. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Maybe not. I mean, I haven't seen his last couple. I think that he's kind of passed the torch now, and his son is the one that's getting all the accolades and all the attention.
Yeah, what's his kid's name? Lillian likes his movies, but she always just calls him Son of Cronenberg.
I mean, what else are you going to call him, really? Junior.
Yes.
Well, those were the quotes, Alex. Let's go into Contrarians Corner.
Now, I know everyone here is familiar with standard techniques of skin grafting. But what we're going to do is a little out of the ordinary. I'll explain as we go along.
Not one of Cronenberg's criterions. As of yet, who knows? At time of recording, this does not have a criterion like Scanners or Videodrome, but we might get there one day.
It happened. I mean, our show is well known for having influenced the Criterion Collection every now and then.
It's true. And Crash has one, and I think Naked Lunch has one.
And then Videodrome had one somewhat recently.
Yeah, that's on my shelf. All right. April 8th of 1977 in Canada, this was released. And it centers around Rose Miller, this is Marilyn Chambers, and her boyfriend Hart Reed are involved in a motorcycle accident in the Quebec countryside after encountering a van in the middle of the road. Hart suffers a broken hand, a separated shoulder, and a concussion, while Rose is severely injured and burned. They're taken to the Keloid Clinic of Plastic Surgery, where Dr. Dan Keloid performs an experimental procedure on Rose using morphogenically neutral grafts to replace her damaged skin and organs. Hart is released after a month, but Rose remains in a coma. So, Chekhov's plastic surgery office. They don't even wait for the third act in this case, though. We start this plastic surgery hospital, and it's basically we're intercutting scenes of them discussing the latest techniques with these 2 young rebels hauling ass in a motorcycle. They get in a crash, probably a stone's throw away from it, and brought you up to speed there with what happens.
Did you know, Alex, the word keloid?
No.
I did. I knew it was like skin related, so I had to use the internet to make sure that I wasn't going to lie on this recording, and I was not. Keloids are firm, raised, and often itchy scars that grow beyond the boundaries of an original skin injury due to an overproduction of collagen during healing. So Dr. Keloid is named after a skin condition. Do you think that that's why he went into that field?
He had no choice.
Yeah. It's just marked from birth. Is it like a long line of keloids? Dr. Keloids, like all the way down?
Generations worth.
And then he ruined it. in this movie.
They fled to Canada in, the 1500s and had to change their last name. And so they chose it for the family practice, Kelloyd.
This movie starts very without fanfare, almost without. Okay, I watched it in Prime. How did you watch it?
Oh, it's on Prime. I watched it on Tubi.
Okay, did you get anything before that opening shot of Rose just kind of staring up into the distance?
It just starts, brother.
Okay, so I don't know that you should do that when. Oh well, actually, it makes sense now that I know that she was already known. Because when I'm watching it, I'm like, who are these people? I need a hook. You can't just throw me cold into the opening when I don't know anybody and it's not even nothing interesting is happening, But I guess back in 1977, as soon as that first shot, you're like, oh, it's that lady from the pornos.
It's yeah, I don't even know what her name is in Behind the Green Door, but hey, it's the sexy chainsaw. You ever known anyone who got a skin graft?
I've heard of him. I've never seen them up close and personal like in this movie. I know that they're kind of a pain in the ass because sometimes they don't take.
Mm-hmm. I also didn't know that you do it just using like a potato peeler and just go right down. It's her thigh, right? And he's like, this skin will graft perfectly. And he takes a fucking big peel of skin off and then he starts rolling it up like it's a fucking fruit roll up or some shit.
And he's like, let's freeze these. Let them rise and then we'll apply them back. I gave up pretty quickly on trying to understand the science behind Dr. Kelloyd's practice. I think that there's ways of making this type of exposition, medical exposition, interesting, entertaining. For example, like Face Off, right? I think that that's like peak, like the best example of how something very technical, very futuristic, almost science fiction, in the way that things happen, but it's very easy to follow what's happening. John Woo and the screenwriters, they just walk you step by step. Here, Dr. Kelloyd gets a monologue where I would understand every other word, and I couldn't really tell. I just had to trust that he knew what he was talking about. But then again, based on what happens later in the movie, I guess he really didn't know what he was talking about, because what he does ends up causing this infection.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next question. Do you think he was just like Frankenstein's monster, or trying to create his own monster, Kelloyd's monster? Or do you think he's just really incompetent?
I think he's really incompetent because he gets killed, I don't know, a third of the way into the movie. Fantastic Marty Scorsese eyebrows, though, on this guy.
Oh, big and bushy, baby.
This
will not be the last time we use that phrase in this adventure.
But he's discount Scorsese, though. Can you imagine if Marty had been the one playing this character?
Imagine Marty directing this to get funding for whatever his next movie would have been at the time.
Yeah, a King of Comedy bombs, and then he just picks up with this. Well, no, it would have been sooner than that. Well, where was Scorsese? He was still doing shorts, I think, when this movie came out.
So the purists aren't yelling at us. Mean Streets was 73. Taxi Driver was 76. So
okay, so maybe he was too big for.
He could have at least had a cameo as the doctor. Yeah. I get to work with Marilyn Chambers. I'll be there.
Marilyn Chambers from Behind the Green Door.
I'm on the next flight out to Montreal. But yeah, the idea is this skin will cover up her injuries, burns, whatnot. But it doesn't go well, as Rose suddenly awakes one night screaming and pierces fellow patient Lloyd Walsh's skin. We don't know exactly why, or how, rather, but she embraces him for a hug, and then he acts as though he's gotten stabbed, and even says, this fellow who plays Lloyd Walsh, because God bless him, he had a unique look, but what I wouldn't say, J. Roger Perriard, not the greatest actor I've ever seen in my life.
In this movie, not the worst actor either.
But he's like, oh, is that a knife? Like he doesn't know how to sell getting stabbed at all.
In all fairness, I don't know how you sell this. Like he showed up to shoot, and they're like, okay, what are we doing exactly? She is fucking me with her armpit.
Well, she has like this phallic member that grows out of her armpit. Getting to the end, so we see it in different like incarnations, or I guess different stages of arousal throughout the movie. And sometimes it looks like a vagina, sometimes it looks like an anus, and then But I guess what's that movie I like with Adrian Brody, Sarah Polley, Splice?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, the thing they create in that movie, its little weapon, its stinger, looks a lot like this thing. Because so when it comes out, it erects from her armpit, and then we see at the very end it has like a fucking stinger on the end of it that she uses because she like drains blood. That's how she feasts, right?
Yeah, she feasts. That's how she eats, and then the side effect for the victim is that they become infected.
They get rabies, essentially.
Yes, a version of rabies, porno rabies. Because it's all very sexual. She moans while she is doing this to them, and hugs them, clings onto them.
Get a knife or something in there with.
Man, this movie goes places, and I wish I had settled on a lane, because the first third of the movie, I think, when we're learning the pattern of how she attacks people and whatever, it really does play like a porno as far as the scenarios in which she ends up attacking people, right? They're like, oh, I just woke up in my coma, and now this guy's coming over to cover me with the sheets, and now I'm cold. Please hug me, and all that stuff. I mean, that is just that's like a porno setup with porno dialogue, except that then there's a killing, and then later we see her like in a pool and a farm, and So I kind of wish that the entire movie had been that. There's Cronenberg still indulging in all his creepy, gross body horror stuff, but with the skeleton of a porno movie, because that would be really funny.
I hadn't put that all together of all the different scenarios. Yeah, like she's in the barn and the farmer comes in and is like, "What are you doing here?" Yeah, I didn't even put all these things together.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that we're missing is the one where somebody comes to deliver a pizza, and
Yes.
she's like, "Here, check out my armpit." But don't you think it would have been more effective if we had been shown the armpit action from the beginning instead of Cronenberg obscuring it through most of the movie? Because I don't really care of it, for it as a reveal. Because at the end of the reveal, it's like, oh, okay, so it had a stinger, but that doesn't really mean anything. Instead, at least in my case, like most of the movie, because I wasn't sure what was going on, I couldn't really focus. Could you tell what was happening?
Well, as quick as I want to be to like criticize you for being a modern audience member that doesn't have the patience to not watch something that isn't a TikTok. At the same time, I think about 1977, like there's no possible way audiences could have just inferred what was happening here. So yeah, a little bit of explanation or a little bit of show and tell might have gone a long way.
You think that Cronenberg was afraid of scaring them? So it's like, no, I got to really build up to this.
Can't lose them in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. You don't want him to leave and ask for a refund. They need to stick around. Yeah, I guess.
Rose suddenly awakes one night screaming and pierces fellow patient Lloyd Walsh's skin. Also extremely problematically, Lloyd, in explaining his injuries, doesn't know how he got them. And one of the nurses says he was probably trying to assault one of the patients. He's done it before. And it's like, whoa.
I don't think she said him specifically. She said that she had seen it happen before.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the context of the sentence.
That's still pretty bad, though. Did she mean that she's seen it happen before at the keloid clinic, or
just in her line of work?
In her line of work, she's worked at some pretty bad places. Thank God, here at the keloid clinic, we know how to take care of our patients.
She should have added, when I worked in America, I saw these things.
Yes. Okay, that you just answered my biggest question, at least for the first half of the movie, which was, who's paying for all this? And yeah, you're right. They're in Canada. They don't have to worry about it.
What an awesome loophole. Like, you're just writing, and what if the audience wonders how this is all being paid for? Didn't they see the beginning? This was shot on location in Montreal.
This is Canada. Because that was really, I was thinking, they're so nice, or they're just completely, racking up debt for this couple. Because the guy, Marty, Canadian Scorsese, he tells Hart, the boyfriend, he's like, you can come visit her anytime you want. but she hasn't woken up yet. So, who knows how long she's going to be here. And I kept thinking, man, when she wakes up, she's going to be in debt for the rest of her life. Or at some point, if it was America, they would just kick her out the following week if her insurance didn't cover it. So, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. That's wild that Canadian movies get to have a completely different way of telling stories because money is not an issue.
Medical money, that is.
Maybe all types of money. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy here until they got rabies.
How you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
What, you in for phase 2, huh?
Yeah, a little eye tuck this time.
Looks terrific.
Good.
The doctors are puzzled as Lloyd has no memory of the incident and his blood fails to clot. Unknown to them, Rose's procedure has caused her to mutate, allowing her to survive only on human blood. A red stinger-like organ emerges under her armpit, which she uses to feed on her victims. One night, Rose leaves the clinic and attempts to feed on a cow but becomes sick. A farmer attacks her, but she retaliates by feeding on him and then calls Hart to pick her up. The next day, the farmer transforms into a zombie-like creature and attacks a waitress at a roadside diner. Meanwhile, Lloyd leaves the clinic, but during a taxi ride, begins foaming at the mouth and attacks the driver, resulting in a fatal crash. Yeah, this farmer man just goes to town on a whole chicken. He grabs it and it's just cooked chicken, by the way. He just has, I think, an insatiable hunger for meat at this point. But Julio, we've seen too many movies. At this point, it just becomes another zombie outbreak movie.
Pretty much. And not just that, Alex. We've also seen Contagion. And so that was the ultimate epidemic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie in the last half hour, I think, tries to get there. But one, it starts too late. And two, well, it's not Soderbergh. It's not an all-star cast. I can't really care. It was just too late. I wish, like I said, they'd focus on just do one thing, either become a really gross out thriller or become a porn parody. Or if you're going to do the epidemic thing, do it from the very beginning. There's the story of Rose and Hart and Dr. Scorsese and then the other guy, that's his business partner. It's nowhere near as interesting as what seems to be happening around them, which is Canada becoming infected with this virus. But we don't really get to see much of that. So my big question, Alex, since we're talking about the farmer now, is for the purpose of Contrarians lore and the purpose of the Embryos coming later this year, are we going to consider these attacks with the stinger as potential sexual acts that qualify for the Ruffalo Award?
Oh, man.
Because there's a lot of moaning. She's actually even kind of like tender when she approaches that cow. She tries to feed off the cow, but then she throws up because I guess it only works if it's human blood.
Yeah, that's what we learn in that is she only can feast on that of her fellow man. I mean, that first one specifically, she does kind of writhe in ecstasy a little bit afterwards. So maybe, I mean, let's put attack in that and we'll circle back to it.
It's very likely that this summer event might give us an abundance of potential nominees. So Rabid might end up not even be worth discussing in that sense.
Feel like that's a safe bet. Yeah, Hart is just
a terrible actor.
Yeah. If I wanted to be generous, polite, kind, I would say Frank Moore, the actor here, was really just trying to dial in that post-concussion haze that one goes through.
For the entire movie.
Yes. That would be the nicest way to put it, yeah.
No, I don't feel bad because this dude, I looked up his filmography and he was a working actor all throughout my entire life. I think he's still alive, actually. So obviously he's starting here, but he went on. I imagine he wouldn't have kept getting cast if he hadn't improved. So good for him. He survived this performance somehow. But he's really bad. I would put him at the very bottom. And then, man, who comes out on top? Is it Marilyn Chambers? Would you say she is the MVP?
Almost kind of has to be, I would think. Yeah, or the police chief, just because he's so annoyed by everything going on. And he's talking about the rabies shots are a killer, and he'd rather just get infected instead. But yeah, Marilyn Chambers certainly comes across more comfortable on camera than almost everyone else in this movie. To jump ahead a little bit, Frank Moore gets the He certainly goes for his Oscar clip in the closing stanza of this film.
Yeah, but he is no Tom Atkins at the end of Halloween 3.
Indeed, he is not. He has nowhere near the raw sexual energy or mustache of Tom Atkins in Halloween 3. At the clinic, Dr. Kelloyd becomes infected by Rose's stinger, causing chaos as he attacks a nurse during operation. Did it seem to you like this was a special effect that didn't go as it was planned? Because he tries to cut her finger off. I'm doing air quotes right now when they're performing surgery, and it looks like the prop didn't quite break the way it was supposed to. But Cronenberg's like, we're 10 days behind shooting. Fuck it.
Also, we don't have another prop, so just keep going. It was you had to make it happen in this one take. Yeah, it gets pretty chaotic, but most of the kills, most of the big attacks here, the violent scenes are pretty chaotic, and I understand that is just because it was an indie movie, so of course you shoot it in a way that allows you to not worry so much about the budget, right? If it's all like close-ups and all jumbled on the screen, then you can get away with it, as opposed to like if you had a wide shot of these attacks, then you would really have to sell them. But I when it's just like the camera shaking and you can't really make out what's going on, it was like, okay, well, I guess something is happening. That is the case here. I mean, that entire thing, it just feels like a rehearsal. It just feels like, all right, this was going to happen, but then we're going to shoot it the cool way. But instead they just did that. He starts foaming at the mouth. He has like this green foam. And then they also start, when they get infected, they start dripping from the eyes. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never scary or disturbing. It just looks messy. Again, it just looks like, well, it's not quite where it needs to be. It's just, you're watching like the storyboards and the rehearsals and the previews, but not the actual stuff. There's like, we're watching the dress rehearsal. That's what it is.
There's a person on the operating table just like kind of jerking violently at all the chaos, but like, it's under anesthesia. So
innocent bystander. Yeah. I'll tell you that the most disturbing part of all this is when one of the nurses runs out to get help, and Marilyn Chambers is sitting on the couch with an IV, I guess, just feeding. They're like dripping medicine or whatever on her, and then she sees that this is her chance to escape, and then she just rips out the IV, and that gave me shivers because that feels like the real world. Like the idea of somebody ripping an IV off, just ugh.
We've done a movie before where that same thing happens and you had a similar response to it, and I was like, what's the problem? And you're like, that's like real, brother. That's
real. That's like real needles. You've had IVs on before. You've had procedures. Yeah. Didn't that freak you out knowing that that shit's there and that it's in your arm? You don't want to break it in.
No. I've removed a splinter before. If something bad happened, I could do it again. But you talk, if she had been running out and her fucking thumbnail got caught in something ripped off, then I would have been like, oh God.
Or if she'd gone to a bad dentist, an evil dentist,
oh brother,
and he said, "Gotta get to the pulp."
Hey Rose, you want a bite? Steak on a bun. It's real good.
I wouldn't mind just one bite. You sure?
Rose escapes and hitchhikes to Montreal, where she infects a truck driver. Sad that Marilyn Chambers didn't commit and learn French for this. Hart, along with Dr. Kelloyd's business partner, Murray Cypher, team up with the police chief, Claude Lepoinet. So I'm not talking about the police chief because he's the guy that makes like the public health announcement. The fella who maybe he's the lieutenant or something, but he's smart enough to he keeps himself withdrawn enough from everything to not put himself in any immediate danger, which I appreciate.
Is he the guy that takes, what's the name of the old guy? The actor is Joe Silver. Mm-hmm. Murray, right?
Yeah.
Is it Murray? Yeah. He's, he takes him to see what's happened to Dr. Kelloyd. But he doesn't warn him or anything. He just tells him.
Yeah, he takes him. He's like, come with me.
Yeah. Like, that's his friend. It's his business partner. And like, oh, surprise. He's a zombie now.
Sorry about that. The chief says I need to work on my bedside manner. And public health officials, they discuss the escalating epidemic. Hart witnesses an affected police officer before the officer is shot. He calls Rose's friend Mindy and asks her to keep Rose at her apartment if she shows up. Rose arrives in Montreal and stays with Mindy. While Mindy watches a news broadcast about a rabies-like epidemic spreading through the city, Rose goes into an adult movie theater and infects a patron. I mean, we could have done the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing here where she goes and watches herself.
Yes. Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was a porno theater or not because it seemed. I guess it's Canada. Every time I have an objection, it's like, oh wait, it's Canada, so that's why. But because it looked very composed, very nice. When you see a porno theater depicted here in the United States, it's just depravity everywhere.
Mhm.
And people are in the shadows, and it looks nasty. But here, it kind of looks like a normal movie theater. And this to be people on dates. They're well dressed. Nobody's hiding. I mean, everybody's just watching the movie. If not for like the greater context, would you be able to tell that it was a porno?
I mean, the theater had like those. I mean, it was clearly like in a brick of downtown. I mean, the setting seemed as though it kind of gave it away. And
But that's when you go outside.
yeah.
Like, you get the outside shot.
Oh,
happens
you're just
after-
mean
after the
just in the theater, like
Right,
no.
because when we first see it, it's just, I mean, it explains why the guy that approaches her is so fucking creepy. But at first, when I was watching the movie, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he there? Is he, why isn't anybody else reacting? But then once you get the exterior shot at the end, and it shows that it was a porno, I'm like, all right, I guess that's just how it goes every showing.
Montreal.
That guy looked a little bit like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Les Grossman.
Yeah, Grossman is right.
Ayo. Later, Mindy encounters an infected woman attacking passengers on the subway. Meanwhile, Lepointe and his team are attacked by infected workmen. Dude, that scene's metal as fuck because like they're in the way and the guy's like, clear a path, and roll down your window and ask, what is the meaning of this? And one of the dudes takes like a fucking jackhammer and just jacks it into the side of the car into this dude's like leg and he like through the door. And they open it and he starts spilling blood and they feast on them.
So they don't completely lose their faculties when they become rabid.
No.
They can use tools, but that's not clear because sometimes they behave like they're just animals that can't control themselves.
And the guy at the ending, he does the full change within the course of like 15 minutes.
Yeah. He's taking a nap and then he wakes up.
So symptoms are inconsistent.
It's like those infomercials where they list the potential side effects.
May include,
taking a nap, getting sleepy, waking up as a zombie, or just instantly suffering from bloodlust. It depends.
increased skills with a jackhammer.
Yes. I don't want to forget the guy that shows up on the TV 2 or 3 times to kind of give us an update of what's going on. Didn't he look like Norm Macdonald? Which instantly made me think we can update.
I could see that, yeah. And Norm's Canadian, so that checks out.
Oh, dude, maybe it was Norm Macdonald.
A very young Norm.
I mean, it could have been because you only see him from far away. It's just like black and white TV with the hair. Until proven otherwise, that's my headcanon now. Norm Macdonald was it. And this is how eventually he became the host of Weekend Update.
I'll take it. I'm not going to argue with you.
Norm Macdonald truthers, hit us up. Let me know if that's the case. Also, Carrie poster on the way out from the porno.
Oh, I didn't catch that. No.
Yeah. The De Palma Carries are what, 76?
Yeah. A little Easter egg there for what they wanted in this.
It's a real experience for me just to walk down the street. Oh, well, then let me come with you. No. You stay here and finish your laundry, and I won't be gone too long. Okay, Rosie, yeah. Well, if you get dizzy or anything, call me.
Thoughts on Mindy?
I love her aesthetic, the look, but again,
the glasses.
Yeah, the glasses, the hair, it's all great. Susan Roman is her name in this, and let's see here. She was a runner-up for the role of Chrissy in Three's Company. Man.
And then they saw this movie. Like, never mind.
What could have been? Yeah, I'm gonna side on the Marilyn Chambers is a better actress.
We kind of flirt with going back to the porno parody here, though.
We definitely do. When she like stops her from leaving, she like pins her against the wall. She's like, "No, stay here with me. I'll run you a bath."
Yes.
With all the conviction of a porno too.
Were you disappointed that we didn't really get to see the bath? Because it really, that is poor form from Cronenberg. You do not bring that up, and then next time you see him, she's already dead. I feel like we missed out.
There was definitely some 14-year-olds that snuck into this that were getting real excited at the prospect and then real disappointed, ruined their whole evening.
Is this a Christmas movie, Alex?
Okay, we're about to get to that, and you jumped ahead of me here, Julio. So let's move along, as it is Christmas time, and we're being separated and identified by cards that indicate whether or not you're vaccinated.
But there's some people that protest every time that they can't get somewhere into the mall.
They're naturally immune to rabies.
Yeah,
I can't get it. It doesn't spread like that. It's a lie. Joe Biden created it. All right, rabies. With the outbreak worsening and rabies treatments failing, Dr. Royce Gentry advises a shoot-to-kill policy to prevent future infections. So martial law is instituted here. It's declared, and the Canadian Army sets up roadblocks. While NBC-suited chemical suits, whatnot, suited soldiers help dispose of the bodies. Rose attempts to seduce a male victim among a crowd of Christmas shoppers in a mall, but is interrupted when an infected man attacks, spurring a violent shootout by armed forces. And Julio, they kill Santa Claus.
It's nothing sacred. I mean, it has to be bad if Canadians are resulting to violence. If they go shoot to kill.
No
we
shit.
don't care. This is America now.
Yeah, it's martial law, baby. And you don't listen to him. Bing, bang. It's like a Tommy gun this guy's armed with in a shopping mall. And yeah, it's this infected guy is on the runaway. He's trying to, he's just looking everywhere. He's trying to find, a way out. And the cop says, stop or I'll shoot. And he just unloads. But in the background, Mall Santa literally catches strays and gets killed in front of like all these families and children.
So is this going to make it to the rotation?
It is not. I can't. While it would qualify for that scene, it wouldn't fill me with the Christmas spirit. You know what this is? It's the ending of Bad Santa where Billy Bob's gunned down in front of those kids, but that's funny because all the kids start screaming like, ah! Here it's just like, oh man, Santa got killed. And then you realize that the rabies are still out there and, nothing's going to fix it.
There's no Christmas when there's a pandemic. We've learned that lesson. Do you think this was something else that came to mind? And I know Cronenberg is just taking shortcuts, but every man that approaches her to try to seduce her, which in turn leads to her jumping them and infecting them, is a creep. And I thought that it would be a lot more interesting if we actually cared for the people that are going to get infected. You know what I mean? Like the guy that approaches her at the porno theater, I was like, sure, you had it coming. And then the guy that approaches her at the mall, I mean, she doesn't infect him because he ends up getting bit by someone else, but still, he looked like a weirdo. And so everybody surrounding her is so off-putting that I just didn't care for any of the victims. Don't you think it would have been a better movie if we had at least one or two sympathetic characters that were in danger?
Yeah, like someone who genuinely tries to help her and she still just does the same to him. But yeah, I agree 100%. Everyone, I'm like, yeah, you had it coming.
I mean, that's what you get for trying to take advantage of a lonely stranger. Men.
A pretty one at that. But yeah,
Yeah. Did she give you Britney Snow vibes? Some shots?
Britney Snow. Who's that?
Hairspray, if you want to go to Contrarians.
Yeah. I thought that was who, yeah. No, but my mind had already been tricked because in my research I was doing, people said there was some likeness to Sybil Shepherd. So that's who I saw in a lot of it.
Oh, man. I didn't. But if I ever watch this movie again.
All due respect to Marilyn Chambers, very beautiful, not quite on that Sybil Shepherd level. So anyway, Santa gets capped. Murray and Hart arrive at Murray's home where Murray finds his baby dead and is attacked by his infected wife. Pretty dark. It's like the baby's bath is all full of blood and shit. And I was kind of worried. I was like, man, they're going to show like a dead baby. And unfortunately, we didn't go full train spotting.
Dude, I was disappointed because I thought that's what we were going to see. I'm like, oh, it's Cronenberg. He's not going to pull any punches. And instead it was just blood.
He got his funding for this movie from the Canadian Film Development Corporation, so I think they might have drawn a hard line on something like that.
No dead babies. You can imply, but please do not show us that.
Armpit penises all day. No dead babies.
Yeah, that's just weird. But dead babies, that's morbid. Did you catch this guy's name in the credits? Joe Silver?
I saw it in the opening credits and I go, Joel, like my
Yep.
brain tricked me. I go, Joel Silver,
Yes.
the insane producer. Yeah, that's immediately where I went to. This guy, honestly, might be the best actor in the movie.
It's true. It's true. He is. I don't think he's well cast. I think that he's supposed to be younger because he looks too old to just have a baby. Didn't you think that?
Yeah, I mean, Larry King, stranger things have happened, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, is he babysitting his grandkid maybe? But no, he turns out to be the father. But yeah, I mean, I guess he has the chops. Maybe the problem is that nothing really interesting happens around him. He spends most of the movie just driving Hart around and then disappears and then comes back and he gets killed. But I could see a more interesting movie built around him where he's Brad Pitt in World War Z. He's just going with the government trying to figure out how to handle this epidemic. And, that's obviously not what we got at all. But yeah, maybe he's a better actor. He's just saddled with that character that's not that interesting.
Yeah, when he was on screen, I was like, oh, here's a fucking seasoned actor, or polished at least. Someone trained in the traditional sense.
But then you feel bad because, like, fuck, half his scenes are with this Moore guy.
Yeah.
Frank Moore.
With Hart Reed. Yeah. Frank Moore. Yeah.
I can't believe this. It's like we're at war.
Listen, Hart. I want to go to my place first.
Hart drives into the abandoned city to search for Rose. An infected person jumps onto his car but is shot by soldiers who disinfect Hart's vehicle before allowing him to continue. Mindy watches a news report indicating the infected may have originated at the Kelloyd Clinic. Bum, bum, bum. Rose returns to Mindy's apartment and feeds on her. This is after the aforementioned porn scenario setup. Hart finds Rose in the act and pleads with her to seek treatment, but she denies responsibility for the epidemic. This is part one of Frank Moore's Oscar, his bid for the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Is he's like, what do they do to you? You started it all. And he's like shaking her.
It's the first time in the movie that he shows emotion.
And he goes from like 0 to 85. Like there's no like ramp up to this outburst.
Were you confused by the fact that she seemed completely unaware of what she had created? I couldn't believe that she didn't know that she was infecting people.
I think her mind is gone. I think she's lost it. She has an arm growing out of her armpit, brother.
But she behaves like a normal person until it's time to feed.
That's
Even
not
like,
true. She's having like all those like attacks and like spells throughout the third act of the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she's having the what do you call it? Withdrawal when she's not feeding right away.
So she's not in her right mind. So yeah, this is like the addict mentality of like, no, it's not my problem.
So she's in denial. Like
There
deep down, maybe
Yeah,
she knows, but she's in denial. That shot of her like on the bathroom floor, just writhing and turning around. That was, I mean, we get lots of boob shots in this movie, but the shot of her just spinning in the bathroom, that was the one where I'm like, okay, this is getting a little too gratuitous.
Yeah, she's just kind of naked for the sake of naked for several parts of this, or topless at least. But yeah, there's a lot of lingering there towards the end.
And I'm like, I get it. This is the one time where I could have just used a close up. You didn't need to expose her whole body. Yeah, I guess I just had trouble. Look, I couldn't even tell you who's the main character here. I guess Rose by default because we spend the most time with her.
Mm-hmm.
But then if that's the case, when your main character is out of her mind, like not fully conscious at least half the time, that makes it really hard to invest also. So I think that what happens here at the very end in the final couple scenes of the movie would have hit me harder if I'd been with her the entire time and I really knew what was happening. But instead, I could never really tell where she was as far as okay, is she a predator and she's very consciously a predator? Or is she someone who gets possessed by this hunger and then she acts and then after that she kind of forgets about it or she decides to ignore it? Like, I couldn't tell you, and I think the movie would be better if I knew for a fact.
Yeah, I hadn't given too much thought to that, but that's a very valid call out. I think, here towards the end of the movie, just overtaken by the Frank Moore show.
He won you over. Like, where have you been the entire movie, man?
You carry the plague. You've killed hundreds of people.
Rose infects a man in the apartment lobby and locks herself in a room with him, planning to test whether he becomes infected. As Hart desperately tries to convince her to leave, the man turns rabid and attacks Rose. Julio, you quoted this scene in a text to me when we were planning the timing for tonight. He goes for it and just yelling to the mountaintops that Rose needs to get out of there.
What's the Tom Atkins speech? Please turn it off. Turn it off. Please,
the third
please.
channel, for the love of God. You have to turn it off.
That's how you do it.
Stop it. That's like, you already made the Tom Atkins like analogy, but that's true. That's basically what this is like, you got to get out of there. And yeah, man, he's like, this is something, and again, I'll love to Frank Moore if he had a working career, but like, this is something that if you gave like a kid in a Friday the 13th movie, they would just be like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, these, or like a director would watch that on the site, like, you know, the dailies, and be like, "Now we got to bring that way, way, way back. This isn't this guy's calling, man."
Can you imagine Cronenberg sitting behind the camera, just kind of like looking down?
He looks over to Ivan Reitman, you know, he's there on set that day, and he just kind of gives him like the shoulder shrug, like, "What are you gonna do?" And then, you know, cut, and then he does the clap. Beautiful.
Frank Moore is like, "Are you sure? I can do one more.
I can go louder." No. We're good. we got to be out of here in an hour. The man turns rabid and attacks Rose. The next morning, Rose's body is found in an alley by NBC-suited soldiers who dispose of her corpse in a garbage truck. Julio, I got to tell you, it's not the most sexy or eventful ending, but there's something that's just kind of to appreciate of. She just gets thrown in the trash, and then that's the end of it. I think from a writing perspective for Cronenberg, he just wanted to be done with the script.
Okay, with that read, then yes, that elevates it. It's like, fuck it, we're done. I kept thinking of the ending of the first, is it Night of the Living Dead? The one that it's with the guy getting shot and then they just throw him in the pile of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, they can't get anything original. They go from the ending of Halloween 3 to the ending of Night of the Living Dead. And there is nothing. The only thing that I liked, and I don't know why I like this when it happens in movies, but the end credits start rolling, but there's still stuff happening. But what's happening is completely inconsequential. It's just cars driving or, these guys going around about their business. There's no longer any story. It's just like, oh, well, it's like they forgot to turn the camera off.
I know exactly what you're referring to, and I enjoy that too. That's always something that gets me good.
Yeah, I think that's like an old-timey thing, like 70s, 80s kind of stuff. Yeah, what did we learn, Palmer? I mean, this is just... I saw like those fresh quotes that were talking about Cronenberg kind of issuing a warning or trying to, I guess, say something, but they wouldn't specify what he's trying to say. And I don't get it. He can't seriously be saying or be telling us that this movie is about a pandemic warning, how we handle these viruses or these, epidemics. I don't think that that's the case because there's so much crap that has nothing to do with that in the movie. But I wish that really he had decided, okay, I'm making Contagion or I'm making the funny movie that's like a slasher or a horror movie within a porno structure. But instead, it's just like this mishmash of, I don't know, weird stuff. It's just like, pre-Cronenberg, like really green Cronenberg.
Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves to real talk. You can definitely see a lot of what he would become in this, but this feels like a sampler platter, very experimental. And not in like the classic Cronenberg way, experimental and they're just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what's going to work.
I guess my final question is, wouldn't her pit hole stinger, wouldn't that defend her against the guy that kills her at the end?
You would think. Maybe he got scared.
It was cold.
Yeah, she needed a Blue Chew.
It was tired. That's the problem. It's been active the entire movie. It was just time for it to rest.
Had a long week.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was Rabid. Julio, a bunch to discuss in Real Talk, both about this movie and its players. And I think we'll have a little bit of discussion about some of our personal experiences with adult films, Julio. So you ready to move along to Real Talk?
Yes, let's do it. I really want to know if you've ever had the rabies shot, because it looks terrifying.
Let me dig out my Vax card and I'll let you know when we get back.
Let's go to Real Talk.